Hi, everyone. Welcome to the site report training session in part 3. Thanks for taking the time to join today. The goal is that we'll go through the training on field reports. I'll show you meeting minutes and items and how that all works for your field reports, and then punch lists as well. If you have any questions, drop them in the chat along the way, and I'll make sure that I come back and answer those at the end and save enough time as well. So I'll get started. I'll share my screen and we'll get going. Okay, so in part 3, when you come into your project, there's a few different things that you might want to get set up before you start your first report. Under the settings area, you just want to make sure that you have the correct project name and address. And if you have any permit numbers, you can put that on your project just by clicking edit there. These numbers do appear on your report, so if that's something that you want to be brought into the cover page of your report, you can just add those numbers there. So that's really the only project information that relates to what goes onto your report. So now we can jump into reports. Under this tab, you'll see a few different areas. We have reports, meeting minutes, and items. I'm going to start with reports here. I have a list of open reports and then any of my issued reports as well. So I'll start by showing you how to create a report, and then I'll dive into one that has a bit more content. So to create a report in part 3, click this plus report button in the top right corner, and now you're going to fill out some basic information. So I could say this is my architectural site visit, March 2025, my review date, the time I went on site, and I can also mark the time that I left site if that's something that I want to document. And then the weather. So today is nice, but it's not that nice. And then I have my general contractor, and we're pulling that in from the teams page. So if you have your GC added to your team, we're bringing in that name for you automatically. The permit numbers here that I had set up at my settings level, and then observations. This observations area goes onto the cover page of your report. So it's not meant to capture all of your actual items and sections that you create during your report. It's just a general overview. So I can say drywall is 90%, site looks good, whatever. It can be a couple sentences just to summarize your site visit. And then you have your disclaimer. So I've already created a field report disclaimer, and that's usually set up at your organization level, or you can add a new one here. And again, this just gets put onto the cover page for you. So I can click create new report. Now I'm brought into a different option here. I have layout, or I can start building my report by adding a section. If your company has a standard layout that they want you to use, you can select that and we will pre-populate that for you. So our sections are already defined here: deficiencies, observation, basement, and millwork, because that is the standard that my company has decided all of our site reports will follow. But not every project is the same. So in this example, I'm just going to start by saying add a section. So I can say this is parking level 3, and I'm going to add that section. The way site reports are created in part 3 is basically sections and items. So sections are the parent, and those items live within that. So if I click add an item, for example, I'm going to put it in this section, and I can say sprinkler is the title. I can pick a related discipline if I want. So these 4 areas are all optional, but I'll show you later on why it's really beneficial for you to fill them out, especially once you have a lot of reports going on your project and you want to track the different items and statuses. So here I'm going to say this is lower level. It's just an observation, so I'll just say it's for record, and there's no priority here. So I can say and then I can add a picture. When I'm actually on my phone, if I click add a photo, it will ask me, do you want to select from your camera roll, or do you want to take a photo right now? So if I decide that I'm going to take a photo on my phone, I can do that. Or I can just say that I'm going to add some pictures just in this example since I'm working on my desktop. So I'll add some pictures here. None of them really relate to my subject, but it's just an example. And then I'm going to click add. You'll see that I do have a few different areas in here. So under my item, I can see the 4 pictures that I took. I have these 6 dots, so I can drag and drop and reorder the pictures if I want to. If I hover over the picture, I also see this edit icon, and this will allow you to add some additional information. So for example, I could say this is the area that I want to highlight. I can pick a few different things here, or I could add an arrow. So you'll have the option to define all those tools as you get in there. And then I can add a caption. I could just say, demo is underway. Again, everything I'm saying here is nonsense. And then I can hit save. So you're going to have a caption. If you added some images or some markups here, they would appear. And we also have a new feature that is called add a drawing. In this area, right here, this will allow you to pin an item on a plan. So if I want to add a drawing, I can drag and drop one here. So for example, if this is my level 2 plan, I'm going to upload this. Again, doesn't correlate to my examples, but I've decided that I'm going to take this plan and I'm going to attach it to this report. Now I have my area here. So I'm going to add a pin so that people know where did I take this picture. So I can add a pin here. I can add another pin, drag and drop it to where the actual image is being taken and the area that I'm talking about. I can come back and move these pins. And I can also create a preview. And the creative preview option here is what lets you put it right into your actual item. This entire drawing with the pins will be brought into the end of your report as an attachment. But if I wanted to insert it into my item, I would click create preview. And now I have this box here. So I can say that I want to export as an image. And now I have this preview. So if I hit save, I've brought this image into my report. And again, I can annotate it if I want to, but now I've provided some pretty clear direction and information to the GC and anyone reading this report about where this is actually located. And then also down here, I can see that I have the drawing attached as well. And if I look at the drawing, let's just open it up here to show you. It will tell me which items this is attached to. So as you're building out your report, you'll have this correlation between the pins and what item it is actually attached to. And now I also have it within this area. So that is basically how you add sections and items. And I'm going to show you now what a more populated report looks like. So if I go back to my open report here, these are the 4 different sections that I have. And these are the items within those sections. When I hover over, you'll see that I have these 6 dots. I can drag and drop my sections. I can drag and drop items between sections and modify this to my layout. So if you're using Word right now for your reports, you probably know that it's a bit annoying to edit and move around pictures and everything like that. So this drag and drop will automatically renumber things for you. This is report number 18. So just to explain our numbering system, I'm on report 18. So this is 18.1, 18.2, and 18.3. I can see that these numbers here aren't 18. So the way that we track it is 15.1.2. This is from report number 15. It was in the first section on that report, and it was item number 2 in that section. This helps you track the item in terms of how long it's been open. We don't let you modify this simply because it's a tracking item. So in this scenario, I've issued a few different items and reports, and now I'm on 18. Next time I go to site, maybe I want to make some modifications. This one is for record only. They installed the access panel, so I could say access panel installed. And then I'm going to mark it as closed. And I'll save that. So now this item is closed. I could move it if I wanted to, or the next time I issue my report, I can just decide not to carry over closed items. You can come in here and modify that. If I added a new item here, I would see that it's becoming item 18 as well with that starting number. So as an example here, I will say exterior loading dock. I can select my discipline if I want to. Again, these are all optional. The status, and then I'll just put a test here. This details area is if you want to break things out a little bit further. So if I wanted to say, for example, this is my exterior loading dock, I want to say observations of loading dock number 2, and I could break this down further. So I could say door installation is one item and I want to add some photos. Maybe I can have trench drain as another item, and I can keep going and break this down as much as I want to get as much detail as I need into this. I can also assign people. If this is something that I want my mechanical consultant to look at or my general contractor, I can assign them and then click add. Now this has become 18.1.1, and I can drag and drop that and reorder it as I want to. This icon lets me know that one person has been assigned. Basically, every time you're going to site, you're just adding sections and items. We do have the option of a table of contents here. So edit mode is where you're going to create your sections and items. So let's say now I've finished my report and I want to go into layout mode because I really want to see what my report is going to look like. This is the cover page that I have. This is the observations, my distribution list, and I didn't turn on the table of contents, but I could if I wanted to. And these are the different items that I have. So this is item 18.1.1 that I just made. I don't have any pictures. If I scroll down here, I can see that I have some pictures attached. Same here. And you'll notice that we do have some page jumping. So what I could do if I really wanted to control what my report is going to look like, I could decide here, if I click on this area, I want to move this to a new page. So I'm going to bump that down to 18.2 because I don't want to have it starting at the end of the page and then it doesn't carry on to the actual content that I'm describing. Here as well, I can see that I have my details. Same thing here. I could decide that I want to jump this item to a new page. These pictures here, I've decided that I'm going to have 2 images per row, but maybe I want to have 1 image each, and I'm going to fit it to the width because I really want to make sure that the GC can see these images very clearly. So if I hit save, now I can see that this is providing a bit more detail for them. They can really see the items that I'm pointing out. Same here, here as well. So you do get the options to decide how many images you want per row, if you want the resolution to be increased or not. We have it default at 2 so that your output of your report is good in terms of the amount of megabytes so people can receive it via email. If you wanted to have really high image resolution, you could do that as well, but it would make obviously the output PDF quite large. So then I can save that and everything is updated here. So the layout mode gives you an opportunity to decide what your report is going to look like. It's pretty accurate, but I will say there are some variants, so it's not 100% accurate. If you really want to see what it's like before you issue it, you can click this Generate PDF Report, and then you can download that when it's ready, and that will make sure that you have a very clear understanding of what is actually being uploaded and distributed when you're finished. So I could download that if I wanted to. And then when I'm ready, I can distribute my report. This is one final look for me. I can see all the information that's going on my cover page, who's being copied on the report. So let's say I'm missing someone. I can go back to edit layout mode and I can add some people to my distribution list. Now I have everyone here that I want to receive the report. I can also mark any attendees. So maybe actually this person wasn't on with me this time. They came to the last report, but not this one. And now I can distribute my report. So it's always good to have a little final look here and make sure that you're happy with what you're sending out. And this is your distribution message as well. So I could say this is from my walk on Friday so that everyone knows this is the latest and greatest report. Now that's being packaged as one PDF and it's being sent out to everybody on the distribution list. They can get that PDF attachment link in their email, and they can also get the link to come in and view it right into Part 3. So now I can see report number 18 move down to my issued items. And more importantly, the next time you go to site, I can click this and I'm going to hit clone. It's going to ask me what items do I want to carry over. So maybe I'm going to say, I don't want to bring over any of my closed items. They're closed. I don't need to worry about them anymore. And so now I've carried everything over again. This is 19.2 because I'm on report 19, and I just pick up where I left off from last time. I can come in and edit any of my previous items, update my photos, and add new items. So that is the basics of creating your report. The areas that I mentioned, these 4 areas that are optional, I'm going to show you why it's beneficial to fill those out. So on your items tab here, I have a list of all of the items that I've made. I can track them by number. So for example, here, I can see if I click on that, it will give me all of this information. I can see the last time it was updated, if it's closed or what the status is, a description of it, and all the reports that it has been listed on. This is a really good area for your GCs to come in, and you as well, so you don't have to dig through all of the PDF reports where things have been issued. You can come in here and quickly search things. So for example, I wanted to say, are there any items for entrance? Yes, I can see anything like that, and I can apply as many filters as I want. I can also look at this is assigned to, so maybe I assign something to this person. I can see what items are assigned to them. So it's good for your GC to come in. You can give them access to this, and there's really no excuse why they wouldn't have the latest and greatest report or be able to find any items. A lot of people use our reports as punch lists as well. So you'd be creating your report in the same way. You're just titling it as a punch list. And then when you come into items, you can select all and click export. This will send you an Excel file. So that is actually an entire list instead of a visual report for your GC to kind of knock off all of those items as you're going through the closeout phase of your project. Meeting minutes are very similar. The concept is that you create your minutes. It has sections and items, the meeting date and time, where it was, and the description. And then same thing here, you're adding your sections, or you can pick if you have a standard layout for your meeting minutes. Maybe you do have a standard for your OAC minutes, topics you want to cover, or your design meetings, things like that. So same concept of adding a section and adding items. There's fewer areas for your item inputs. You can select your status, if it's ongoing or closed, assign people, and add images as well. So same concept there as reports. I'm going to have a little look now and see if there's any questions in the chat box, and I'll make sure I get to those. Can you print a report of outstanding items? Yes, that would be under here. I would want to make sure that I'm exporting any items. So I could also search status. If I wanted to see all of these ones, I could do that. But if you do an export, it's Excel, so you could probably just delete them by status type as well. Let me have a look and see if we have any other questions. I think that's it. One more thing that I wanted to talk about, though, is Part 3 on mobile devices. So the concept with Part 3 and our site reports is that you go to site, you're creating your report at the same time, and you issue it before you leave site. So if you check out this little help article here, I just searched mobile, and we tell you how to get this on Apple devices and then also Android devices. When you're on site creating your report, you don't necessarily need a connection. It's always a bit better in terms of photo syncing when you have a connection if you're using tablet or your phone, but you can create reports offline. The only thing there is I recommend cloning your report before you go to site. But as you're uploading your photos, you'll see this little check mark in the top right corner. It'll let you know all of the items that have been successfully uploaded. If it's blue, it'll just mean that you're taking them offline or there's no connection. So just keep an eye on this when you come back into service to watch all of these go into this green check mark state to make sure that they're all uploaded. And then you can clear them once they're all completed. When you're on site and you're using a mobile device, we don't store the pictures to your camera roll because that is a different type of application. But what we do have is at the bottom of your report, not only will you see all the times that your distributions were successful and things like that, but we have this Photos tab where you can export all of your pictures at the same time. We'll tell you if they're the annotated versions or not, but you can export these and save them on your server, or if you wanted to, it's up to you. And so this is kind of a backup for you for any of the images that you took while you were on site. As well, if you are using an iPhone, I recommend disabling the HEIC version, which is basically those moving pictures that iPhone gives you. Just disable that because the images come in quite large, or sometimes they have a failure to upload as well. So those are just a few tips for mobile devices like your phone or tablets when you're in the field. But most of our reports, I believe it's about 78% right now, are created and issued the same day, which means everyone's getting to site, creating their reports, and being successful before they leave site. So you don't have to come back to the office and issue those a week later like you might be doing right now if you're using Word or some other program. Don't forget that as you get going, this question mark in the bottom right corner, this has all of our help docs. So we do have some on site reports and things like that, formatting. And more importantly, we have this ask button here. So feel free to shoot us a message if you're having any issues or you want to talk about a feature or you just forget something from the training session. Shoot us a message. We'll make sure that we get back to you as soon as we can. And I hope that you feel good leaving the training session today, getting ready to go. Thanks, everyone. Appreciate you taking the time to join. Have a good day.